everyone, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric, and this is Prehistoric special episode number 237. We're going to be talking about an ancient amphibian today, and that amphibian is Diplocaulus. And so here's an artist rendition of what Diplocaulus possibly did look like, even though this looks a little bit too cartoonish, but it is a little bit in the right way of actually seeing and how the anatomy looks and all that. But let's actually get to the information. Some information about Diplocaulus. The name means double stalk. Uh, Length is 3.3 feet or 1 meter. Weight is 5 to 10 pounds. So this is a very small amphibian, kind of small amphibian. It lived at 306 to 255 million years ago, so late Carboniferous to late Permian periods. And fossils are found in North America and even in Africa. And it was described by Edward Drinker Cope in 1877. So this prehistoric animal has been around for a long time and described by one of the biggest paleontologists in history. But even though at that point in time during the Bone Wars, Cope and Marsh were battling it out for who would actually have the most species being named. Cope had more reptiles and amphibians to his name in terms of like naming species and all that sort of stuff, whereas Marsh had more of dinosaurs and mammals than anything else. But anyway, let's actually keep going with Diplocaulus. And so here is the world map of what we have today. So Diplocaulus is mostly going to be found in like the southern parts of the United States and even some parts in northern Africa. So that's where Diplocaulus fossils have been found, and that's where you're going to find Diplocaulus fossils. And here's a size chart of Diplocaulus, and you see compared um, to a regular mouse, it is longer than a mouse. And so you can definitely tell that this is a small uh, animal. This is a very small animal to others that were around in its environment. And of course, here's the skeleton of Diplocaulus. There's many specimens of Diplocaulus. Mostly the skull. Mostly the skull is what is mostly found of Diplocaulus. More information about Diplocaulus. It is part of the Tetrapodomorpha, so it's pretty much the like say the lobefin fish, the amphibians, reptiles, and even in terms of mammals. But it's more likely into the amphibians than anything else. And it's part of its own family group, the Diplocaulidae. And the features of Diplocaulus is it's got a V or boomerang shaped skull, and that's why some people call it boomerang head because it's kind of got that boomerang shape to its skull, and it's a very weird amphibian. Now, this skull was mostly used for, like, say, waterways to actually create lift. So this is an animal that would probably use its skull to create lift and also to reduce drag in the water, because that's what its skull shape is used for, to be able to stream through the water to actually get to like its prey. And it has very small limbs, and so this animal probably did not get on land very much, and so that's why it probably spent most of its time in the water. And so it's probably more likely going to be staying in the water majority of the time, and the only time it would ever have to like be out of water if it needs to get some air, because this is an air breather. This animal would have lungs, but it would also be able to breathe through its skin as well, because that's what most amphibians do today. And of course, Diplocaulus has some very small teeth, and it's a carnivorous type of amphibian. The environment in which Diplocaulus lived in, it would have been warm and humid. Would have been plenty of swamps. So this animal more likely thrived in swamps. So it actually had to be living in like areas that were like wetlands and also swampy environments and all that sort of stuff. So there have been plenty of early ferns and of course some trees There were no grass and no flowers during this kind of time because that never actually existed. There have been plenty of rivers, lakes, and ponds for it to move around as well, but more likely staying in lakes and ponds and swampy environments. Other animals during around that kind of time, there would have been insects, other types of amphibians, fish, and even early reptiles. So some of the earliest reptiles were around during Diplocaulus, but of course reptiles diverged into many different types of groups when it got to the Permian. And when we get to the Permian, that's where we see the divide of reptiles going from synapsids and diapsids. And so here's what we're going to see for predators and prey. So the predators and prey of Diplocaulus. So we'll start with the prey. Prey, it would actually be eating like small fish and some worms. That's more likely it's going to be its main diet is some most likely worms and some small fish. Now, it will have predators, like say larger amphibians would have actually been able to eat Diplocaulus, and even larger fish. Large fish would have been around at that time, and of course, when we get to the Permian, especially in the early Permian, Dimetrodon would have actually have been the main predator of Diplocaulus. There has been a fossil site that actually had some juvenile Diplocaulus and even some adult Diplocaulus as well, along with the juvenile Ariops, and those were actually found in the stomach contents of a Dimetrodon that actually was preserved, and so that actually suggests that Dimetrodon did eat amphibians uh, during that kind of time as well in the early Permian, and so yeah, and there would have probably have been some reptiles that would have actually have eaten Diplocaulus as well, but that's to be determined on that, what kind of species are actually going to be able to eat Diplocaulus. But it's mainly going to be larger amphibians, large fish, and of course the Metrodon. The extinction of Diplocaulus is mostly going to be due to climate change. Now, this animal went extinct before the end Permian extinction. So this animal died out 3 million years before the extinction actually happened. So this animal did not see the Permian extinction. It actually was just 3 million years away from that. And so the more likely how the climate change happened is that some of the swamps disappeared, so it was getting drier, and of course, larger amphibians were actually starting to dominate the waterways, and of course, some of the other large fish that were around too. And you also had some synapsid and reptilian predators start to take a hold on certain waterways too, and that's where you start to have a little bit of problems. Now, the synapsid predators, those are more likely going to be like say gorgonopsians, uh, the gorgonopsian type of predators, and then of course the reptilian predators. These will actually be like very close to somewhat to crocodiles, but they're actually kind of starting to become more like archosaurs, and so these were actually the predators that were starting to take hold in the waterways more often. It was the reptilian predators. The synapsid predators are more likely going to be feasting on some of the amphibians that were actually possibly coming onto land or otherwise starting to surface, and so on and so forth. And yeah, that's how most likely the extinction happens, mostly due to climate change. And here's the Lake Permian, 255 million years ago. So this is right around the time that Diplocaulus was starting to go extinct. And when you look at the Permian, and we actually see Pangea, where I'm circling here, this is where Diplocaulus fossils have been found, and you're not going to get um, that much of Diplocaulus fossils right around 255 million years ago. But even though they're very rare at that point in time because they were already starting to go extinct, and yeah, and this is where you see like in the interior part of Pangea, it was starting to get dry, and that's where you start to see uh, ish some problems for Diplocaulus is because the environment was getting drier. And so here in the next episode will be on January 23rd, 2025. And the extra episode, there'll be a book review on Dave Hohn's Uncovering Dinosaur Behavior. So I'll actually have a review of this book out, and and I'll tell you guys whether if it's a good how it's what this book is about. Is it a good read, and should you get this book if you're interested in, like, say, dinosaur behavior and all that sort of stuff. But I'll leave you, and that's coming out next week. But you can still send me questions about dinosaurs and other prehistoric life by emailing me at dinochrist71@gmail.com, or just go to my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts of Dino Chris. Like the page, you should post your questions in the comments section. Please put them in the comments section. Don't put them on Messenger. Messages are private conversations, so please put your questions in the comments section on any Facebook post. And also for you YouTubers out there, like the video, subscribe to the channel. According to my analytics, a lot of you guys are checking out my channel, not subscribed yet, so please feel free to hit the like button, because that's how the YouTube algorithm works. The more likes the video gets, the more likely the video gets spread out to people that are interested in dinosaurs, prehistoric life, paleontology, and geology in general. And also share the video, share the channel to anybody that is interested in dinosaurs, prehistoric life, paleontology, and geology in general. So please feel free to do so. Subscribe, and also hit that notification bell so that we can get weekly notifications of every video that comes out. And also, some of you have already seen some of the polls that I have put out every 3 days. And if you go into the community tab, and if you have not tried to participate in these polls yet, please feel free to do so. I have been posting polls every 3 days now, and so feel free to interact with everybody that are going to these polls on the community tab. So please feel free to go to the community tab and check out those polls. And also for YouTubers out there, feel free to leave your questions in the comments section, because I do read them all. Your questions mean a lot on the Q&A episodes. So you guys are giving me some great questions via email, Facebook, and YouTube. You guys are awesome. Give me great questions that you send to me. And also make sure you keep your questions short to the point. You can also follow me on Instagram at downoutdoorchris.pf. I'll post pretty cool stuff on there. You can also follow me on Threads. Same thing, at downoutdoorchris.pf. I'll post pretty cool stuff on there as well. Also, take care of people around you. Notice for younger people out there to make sure to listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. So, best to motivate you to have a good education. It's very important to have a good education. With a good education, you get a good job in the future. That's it for now. Now, I'll see you guys next time.